I'm Sharon Macklis at IDG Communications, here with episode 51 of Do More with R, create an interactive drill down graph with R and the Highcharter package. Drill downs can be a good way to present a lot of data in a digestible format. Here's the example we'll build today. Median home values by U.S. state. Click a state to drill down to county level data. There are three main steps to making a Highcharter drill down graph. 1. Wrangle your data into the necessary format. 2. Create a basic top-level graph. And 3. Add the drill down. So let's get started. If you want to follow along, download state and county level data sets for the Zillow Home Value Index from Zillow at zillow.com/research/data. I'm using the ZHVI Single Family Home Series. Now for the R code. First, I load packages I'll be using: RIO, dplyr, per, Highcharter, scales, and stringer. Note that Highcharter is an R wrapper for the Highchart JavaScript library, and that library is only free for personal, non-commercial use, including testing it locally, or use by nonprofits, universities, or public schools. For any other use, you need to buy a license. And if you're wondering, I talked my boss into buying me a developer's license, so I have one. Next in the code, I import the state and county CSV files into R. Let's take a look at the state's file structure. This has data over time with a lot of months as columns. So next I'd like to see what the last column is, since I want to graph the most recent data. That's this line looking for the names of the last column. Now I know that I want June 30th, 2020 as my median value column. I'd like to compare that value to the start of the century, so I'll also include January 31st, 2000 as a price in 2000 column. To create my latest states data set, I'll arrange the data by descending median value. I'll then add 3 new columns. Median value formatted and price in 2000 formatted are just to get $signs and commas in the value to display in tooltips. You can do that with JavaScript code also within Highcharter, but I find it easier to do in R with the scales package. Finally, in that last row, I'm using slice to get the 10 highest and 10 lowest state values. That's because having 20 states instead of 50 plus DC makes the graph a little less unwieldy. I do pretty much the same thing to create the latest counties data frame. Here, I filter for rows that include any state in my latest states data. I also remove the word county from all the county names to save space in my graph. Otherwise, pretty much the same. So far, this is usual R data wrangling. Next, though, I'm going to create a special drill down version of the county data specifically for Highcharter. Let me break down what's happening here. First, I'm taking the latest counties data frame and using dplyr's group nest function to create a list column for each state's row with just that state's data. So let's see what happens with just that code. The data column has a data frame for each state's data by county. Notice it's got 6 columns from the original data. Everything but the state, which is in the other column. But Highcharter needs a little extra data here. So let's run all the code. The first 2 lines under mutate add an ID column, how the drill down connects to the data one level up, and a type column for the type of Highcharter graph I want. That first map line of code adds 2 columns to each data frame in the list column, name for the county name and Y for the county value. Finally, the last line in mutate uses the Highcharter function listParse to turn each data frame in the data column into a list with a different format. My next step is an optional one, formatting the tooltip. If I use the default, I'll just see the name of the place and the Y value. But Highcharter lets you add more with the tooltip table function. This is one of the easiest ways I've seen to customize tooltips for an R HTML widget. I create one vector with my category text and another vector with my values, and then use the tooltip table function. Finally, we're ready to make a graph. Hchart is a Highcharter function to make a basic graph. It's taking as arguments the data frame, the chart type, and then a ggplot-like aesthetic function. Its options include X column, Y column, and drill down column. Let me run the first group here. Here you can see there's the default tooltip. And if I click on a bar and nothing happens, there's no drill down functionality yet. HC drill down adds that drill down. The series argument needs list parse again. HC tooltip uses that custom tooltip format I created before. The use HTML equals true argument just makes for a nicer tooltip format. After that, there's code to remove the X and Y axes and add a title and subtitle. Let's run that, open it up in my browser, and there it is, the graph we were trying to build. You can find out a lot more about the Highcharter package at its website, jkunst.com/Highcharter. If you want all the code from this episode, check out the related InfoWorld article at the URL on screen. That's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. For more R tips, head to the Do More with R page at bit.ly/DoMoreWithR, all lowercase except for the R. You can also find the Do More with R playlist on the YouTube IDG Tech Talk channel, where you can subscribe so you never miss an episode. Hope to see you next time. Stay healthy and safe, everyone.